Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mark Loeffler Experience. We got another great show here for you today. We're with my good friend Josh. He has a YouTube channel as well where he's taking us through all his renovation on this. He's converting from a single family to a legal triplex in Hamilton, Ontario. He shared his spreadsheet with us. We'll throw that up when we start talking numbers. Everybody, thanks so much for all the new subscribers. We're at about 730 people right now. We're close to the goal, 270 more to go to get to 1,000. But thanks everybody for coming on, liking, subscribing, turning on that notification bell, and commenting on every video. It's much appreciated. And well, let's get into it. So Josh, you guys are obviously converting a single family to a legal triplex in Hamilton, beautiful Hamilton, Ontario.
Yep.
What was the thing I said to you when I learned out what street it was on?
Mark said that this is the second highest street for police calls. So may have not bought in the best area, but it's going to still turn out to be a great investment, and it looks like a beautiful home. So,
well, I mean, guys, like, you got to be, this was when I started investing in Hamilton 12 years ago. So things are changing, obviously, right? Like now you can do something on this street where 12 years ago, again, I mean, you would have got broken into 15, 16 times. I mean, how many times have you been broken into?
I've been broken into 3 times.
So 3, I mean, it's going down.
It's going down, better than 15, 16 for sure.
Yeah, like you would have lost everything. They would have taken all your piping, all your wiring. They would have just ripped you blind. So.
I've only lost about $3,500 so far, so it's not too bad.
Good.
I can recover from this one, yeah.
Let's talk timeline. So we're now July 27th, 28th?
Yep.
Right? How long have you been doing this?
This is coming up on 11 months. It is longer than I anticipated, but we ran into some issues. We had to get a minor variance on this process to get allowance to actually convert this property. So that took a little bit longer than anticipated, and then we had some financing issues as well. So that kind of set us back a bit as well. But you know, I still think that we're gonna meet the 1-year mark, and okay. Yeah.
If you want to see any of the steps of the process, I know you've documented all this on your YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I'm in the process of documenting everything. I have a couple videos listed. Yeah, my YouTube, if you don't mind me plugging it, is Josh Doyle Invest, so you can follow along the process of this build if you guys are interested.
And that's your Instagram as well, right?
My Instagram as well.
Yeah, and
thanks,
we'll link that down below.
Awesome.
All right, well let's do a walkthrough.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right, so obviously we're inside now. 11 months into the process. You took this right back to the studs, right? Like
right back.
Like you gutted this thing. There was no drywall, no nothing. Obviously, I can see you put the LED pot lights in.
Yeah.
I mean, they look great. New electrical throughout, new plumbing, I assume.
New plumbing. Literally, this house was completely rebuilt except for the brick and the foundation. Yeah, everything was brand new. New roof all the way down.
What should you have called me about before you did it?
Probably everything.
Probably a little bit, but
yeah.
The one thing I commented on your, I think it was your YouTube channel.
What was it? I can't remember.
Drywall to the 3rd floor?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I should have craned the drywall to the 3rd floor. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I said you should have cut a hole in the floor and passed it
out.
out.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I could have done that.
Yeah, so he has a video on his channel where they have the crane come in and they crane the drywall to the 3rd floor.
Yes. And
I basically commented, I'm like, why didn't you just cut a hole in the floor and pass it up through the floor, and it would have been a heck of a lot easier and cheaper.
I'm learning as I go. I've also learned that I should, you know, call the pros when I need to. Yeah, instead of making the mistakes myself. Yeah, which I've made a lot of. Yeah.
And you know what? You got like I didn't know that before somebody told me, right?
Yeah.
Like, cause I asked somebody, like, do I have to crane? And they're like, no, just cut a hole in the floor. And like, oh, there you go.
You know what? These ceilings, we kept these original ceilings. They were the only things that we didn't take down. So that's why, another reason why I didn't want to do it, but it still would have been cheaper and easier just to cut it and then have a guy patch it.
Sheet of drywall, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's enough of that. Me tooting my own horn. So let's talk numbers. All right, let's talk numbers. So what would you buy it for?
We paid $325 for it.
Okay.
Yep.
On market, off market, what?
It was a pocket listing that was brought to us from a realtor, and I believe we bought it just before it went onto the market.
Okay, perfect. So we're 11 months in. How much have you spent so far?
I believe we are just under the 200,000 mark,
okay.
Which is a lot of money. Yeah. But like you said, like we completely gutted everything, right? Brand new house on the interior essentially and the outside. So all we have left is kitchens, floors, appliances, and some trim, which has all been paid for. So I estimate that the total renovation budget is going to come in just over 200, about 210 or so.
Okay, so you're 535. Obviously, you got
Yep.
carrying, closing costs, that type of thing, permit
Yep.
cost. So what are you in for? About 560, 570?
A little bit less than that. I roughly 560, yeah.
560.
Roughly
Okay.
560.
And well, I mean, I guess if you're doing a 20% refinance, then you need 700 to get your capital out.
Exactly, yeah. So we're projecting that this house will be appraised, or this triplex will be appraised around 700,000 conservatively. Like you said, so at an 80% loan to value, we should be able to get 560 grand back, and should get all our money back. Cash out deal.
Cash out deal. And then if
Yeah.
you do really well, like you were telling me one down the street appraised for about 800.
Yes, that is a fourplex. It was
Okay.
eight and change, but same level of finishes as this. So that's why I think that 700 is conservative, and that was last year.
Okay.
So there's been some really good comps come up on the market lately. We might push over 700 and get a paycheck.
Yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
All
not,
right.
not very often you get paid when you do these projects. So
Yeah. So, I mean, talk to me. So we have, so it's a 3-story building.
yep,
So what? Main, basement, and second and third floor all in here?
exactly.
So you have a 2-bedroom on the main floor. What's this one? A 2 or 3?
This is a 2-bedroom plus loft, and so it's a pretty big loft. You guys can check it out if we go up there, and then a 1 bed in the basement.
Okay. So what do you estimate for gross rents?
Gross rents, I believe, around 4,300.
Okay.
Main floor, I'm projecting 1,500.
Okay.
Basement
And that's obviously plus hydro.
plus hydro, yeah.
You guys separated everything, right?
Everything's separate, yep. So 1,500 plus hydro. The basement, I'm projecting 1,000 plus hydro. Or 1 bed, you'll see the ceiling height is really low down there, so a little bit less money.
Yeah.
And then up here, I'm hoping we can get 1,800 because it's the 2 bed plus a loft. This is a bigger unit, open concept. So
Okay, so on refinance, what's the cash flow going to be per month?
cash flow is roughly $700 a month, not including paying a property manager. That's if I manage it myself. If we have to pay a property manager, that will shrink down to
600-ish.
yeah, somewhere around there.
550.
Yeah.
All right. So after a year, you have no money into it. You're going to cash flow $600 a month, and
On to the next one.
so you bought another one already, haven't you?
I did, yeah.
So what's that one? What's the deal on that one?
So the one that I purchased was actually purchased before this one, but we ran into a lot of issues getting the minor variance, which is the approval from the city. That one there is on Lock Street North, which is a much better location.
Yeah.
And it's a single family home just like this, but we're going to be converting it into a duplex.
Okay. And didn't I just see on the Insta that you bought another one though?
No, I didn't get another one. I got the permit. I got
Oh, you
yeah.
got the permit.
I
Well,
got
that's
the
just like doing
acceptance.
it. So how long have you owned that one?
That one is about a year and 2 months. But what happened was we went for the minor variance, and then a neighbor submitted an appeal against the city's decision, and we had to go to the tribunal to fight his appeal, basically. So
And
we
they
got
lost,
pushed back,
obviously.
and they lost.
Because you were only turning it into a duplex.
Exactly, and it was zoned for a duplex.
Then anyways, I don't.
That'll be for the next show.
That'll be the
Yeah,
next
I know.
show. Where Mark scratches his head show. Like that. Like I don't understand like why that even had to go that far, right? Like it's just, you know.
City's process doesn't make any sense sometimes.
I mean, let's be honest. Like the city of Hamilton, most cities in Ontario are in need of good quality housing, right? Good quality rental units.
Yeah.
And yet they don't understand. Like they need 900 units a year, and like there's people like us who are providing them for. Like there's a couple of big projects obviously going on, and yet you know people convert a triplex a lot quicker than they can build a 100-unit building, right?
For sure.
And when they frustrate that process, like that's just keeping stuff out of the rental market and keeping the rental prices higher because they're creating an artificial demand.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
What other than minor variants, what other snags did you hit here? Like what roadblocks would like if somebody's out there watching and saying, you know what, that sounds like a great deal. I'd love to do that. What tips? What were the biggest headaches? What were the biggest wins?
So I would say biggest headache, number one is the minor variance, but outside the minor variance would just be a lot of renovation hurdles. This is my first like major renovation on a project. So when you buy these century homes, you don't know what's behind the wall. You think things are going to be, you know, salvageable, but once you start demoing and renovating things, you know, you just run into things. So number one is the roof. I didn't know the roof had to be replaced. The inspector said, hey, the shingles look great. Once we gutted the attic, we could see daylight through the shingles, so it wasn't shingled properly. So we basically ripped the roof off, re-shingled it, so that was, you know, a pretty large cost that we weren't anticipating. Waterproofing the basement, we didn't see that one as well. Gutted the basement, and it was an old stone foundation. There was moisture issues, so had to waterproof the basement. So there's another, you know, $4 or $5 grand. Break-ins, right? Like we were talking about earlier, I've lost a couple $1,000s in break-ins as well. So there's been a lot of, you know, stubbing our toes and just kind of getting kicked in the teeth as we went throughout this project. But you know, a lot of wins too. Like things are progressing now. We found a great contractor that's been able to help us along the last part of this project because there's been some hurdles with bad contractors. But once you find a good contractor, then kind of it makes the whole process a lot easier, right? Like everything's just so much smoother. So
Yeah.
that's definitely the biggest win is finding this new contractor. Yeah.
Good, good. And even through all those hurdles, all those tribulations, probably an extra $10,000 in costs.
Yep.
Like your worst case scenario is that you're going to get all your money back and break even, or sorry, make $500, $600, $700 a month cash flow.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what keeps me going through with the project is just knowing that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, the return on investment is there, and yeah, you just got to keep moving forward. So, like you said, worst case is even if I had to leave a little bit of money in the project, I'm still going to earn a good cash flow. 3 tenants in this property, so it's going to be a stable, good property to add to my portfolio.
Right. So let's just talk quickly. What's your background before you came into this? Like, how much do you, like, how many rentals do you own? Like that type of thing. You know, because everybody always says like, what if I go? What? How do I get to that step? Right.
Yeah. So my background is I got into high school and I started in construction. I worked for Madame Homes as a general laborer, did some machine operating. I was an assistant foundation builder for them, so I learned a bit about land development and surveying, excavating and whatnot. Didn't really learn the production schedule and like how a house is actually built. I just kind of saw it from afar. So that being said, I didn't really have too much experience when it came to a large scale renovation like this. Once I was done at Madame Homes, I started an e-commerce business, so still completely separate from this type of industry and what I'm doing. And then I got into real estate. So I don't have too much experience doing this. I just kind of learned as I went. A lot of YouTube videos, watching guys like you, listening to podcasts, and then just figuring it out as I went. So yeah, that's my experience. And about how many properties I have, this is my 4th property.
4th property.
Yeah.
And were they all like burrs, or were they?
No.
Or buy and hold like?
They were all buy and holds, yeah, just single family homes, or now I'm just starting to get into the conversion, so taking single families into duplexes and triplexes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are we going to see Josh 5 years from now, other than on the golf course 6 days a week?
5 years, I might be on the golf course 7 days a week. We'll see, but I'm planning on owning apartment buildings, so I'm actively, I'm trying to get Mark to send me properties.
He wants to buy mine, but he doesn't want to pay my price.
Yeah, Mark's a little rich on the price, so I'm beating him down on it, but we'll get there eventually. I just want to own apartment buildings, so I'm actively looking at buildings, submitting offers. 5 years from now, I'm hoping to be over 100 doors. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure you'll get there with stuff like this. I mean, here's the thing. Like I tell everybody, this is probably the best return on investment. Like change of use, right? So you change a single family to a duplex, you get a great return. You change a single family to a triplex, you get a better return, right? The biggest change of use you can make, like you change from agricultural land to residential, right? Or like commercial or something. You change the zoning, you do something, you get your minor variances. It may take a while, but that's where you add a lot of value, right?
For sure. I'm a huge fan of just adding as much value as possible to realize the biggest gains. Yeah, for sure.
Well, everyone, thank you so much, Josh. We're going to put all his information down below if you want to follow him on his YouTube channel or Instagram. And if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. You got to destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Comment down below. If you like Josh's project, if you don't like it, whatever, comment down below, let us know. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.